Soul Disconnected Podcast, the platform designed to reconnect us, bring us back to a common ground to understand one another. Open about our flaws and failures, focused on growth and positivity. The flame in the dark that burns in our soul. Check. I always do that.
Yeah, we ready to hop
check,
on right now?
check. Yeah. It's When Tony Writes with So Disconnected Podcast. You are now tuned in to episode 8, The Lynn Diaries with Evelyn Parada. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm blessed to be here.
Dope. I really appreciate it. I'm happy that you're here, and I'm glad I got to do another episode, another week. I'm blessed to be doing this still.
And this little intro has me like on a vibe already. So.
We catching vibes over here, you
So
know what I'm
good,
saying?
Yeah.
So what's up, man? Like, how you doing? How you doing today? How's life? How you feeling?
Oh, I feel like that's like an easy question to answer, but then deep at the same time.
You're like getting off philosophical over here.
I'm good. I'm happy to obviously be alive another day. Just like everyone, we all have ups and downs, but I'm just happy as it is with my creative aspect right now.
That's dope.
Yeah, this is the space I'm in.
That's really dope. Are you like working on yourself as you're like going through the motions of everything?
Yeah, this year for sure, when I turned 25, was like a big turning year for me to really like discover who Evelyn is. And right now that we're reaching like the end of the year, I look back and I'm like, damn, I've grown so much in like a matter of months. As it is, this year flew by really quick.
That is true. I feel like, it's crazy is like as the year's ending is like I'm starting to create more and build more. Like throughout this whole year I wasn't really like getting any traction on anything, but lately like the creativeness and like just ideas been flowing.
I wonder if it's like a feeling like, damn, the year's about to end, or if it's just
I think it's that like procrastination, honestly, like because I don't know, like I have my moments in years, and I think we all do, but there was a time where like the grind was just like so consistent, and I was like moving, and then there was a period where it was like dark,
And also too, maybe, I don't know if you're like a holiday person, but a lot of people during the holidays are happy, or they're like in a happy feel.
Well, I'm Sagittarius, so maybe it's because my birthday's coming up.
When's your birthday?
December 17th.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's what it is.
See, I'm really bad with like zodiac signs. I'm like, I'm an Aquarius, and then that's all I know.
You're like, all right, cool.
I'm like, oh, Sagittarius.
Nice.
Cool.
You're like, wait, when's that? No. So, what city were you born in?
I was born technically in Bellflower, in Kaiser Permanente.
Nice.
I grew up in LA until like I was like 8, and then I was raised in Downey. So I guess you could say I'm a Downey girl. But
so you're down.
I'm down.
You're down. That's what's up.
But yeah, I guess I'm an LA person. I'm always all around. I have family in South Central, and then like anywhere. I know LA for the most part. So
that's really dope.
Yeah.
That's good. You could tell like your energy, you're upbeat, you're motivated, you're moving, like that's what's dope. The LA vibe is really unique.
Yeah, and you know what, like I hate hearing people say like talk bad about LA people, because I'm like, nah, like LA people are cool. Like,
yeah, there's like a stigma, stereotype.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of
but I feel like
people perceive.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of people who come from the outside and move to LA.
Yeah, or movies or television, the narrative,
or, especially right now, like the influencer vibe. A lot of them come from like other states, and then they reside like in North Hollywood or stuff like that. And that's why people always say like LA people are bougie or things like that. But I feel like the real LA people, like, we're some solid people.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it's like homegrown, natural, organic. The vibes are like, people are like hardworking people just trying to make a living and survive,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all about like family oriented, and everyone's like cool,
And I think we're all really prideful from where we're from.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Everyone be repping it hard.
But other people are like, no, LA this, LA sucks. I'm like, nope.
Yeah, no, I'm repping it.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's love right there. What was your childhood and teenage life like growing up in Downey, going to school?
Easy.
Social life, was everything cool for you?
Yeah, Downey is a really good community. Like super safe and like suburb family vibe. So for me, it wasn't like a hard lifestyle growing up. I have 3 older sisters,
Mm.
so they always like had my back and mentoring me like to do the right things,
Did
like
they teach you how
no
to fight?
boyfriends, no nothing, like
They taught you how to
no, they didn't
fight?
they fought each other.
But they never fought you? That's what I'm saying. Did you learn how to fight from them?
No, honestly, I've never fought my sisters. Maybe only one, and that was like she pulled my hair, and that was about it. And then I like bitched out, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna
You're
fight.
like, wait,
Yeah,
this
because my
is
sisters are a
crazy,
lot
right?
older than me,
Uh-huh.
so I'm like, I'm not about to fight
Oh, you try to
you.
get turned up real quick, and she's like,
Yeah,
let's turn it
and
down
she
right
like
now.
grabbed my hair and flipped me off the bed, and then that was it. And like I was just crying the
Oh,
rest of the night.
man, you got wild, huh? That was crazy.
But my sisters, them like with each other, that was another crazy story.
You know
Like,
what? I feel bad because I grew up with nothing but I have an older sister and a younger sister, but we all grew up in martial arts.
oh hell.
And we all had tempers, and I feel bad because I'd fight with them. Like we fought,
You guys had some
and
karate kicks and everything.
oh yeah, 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 some Muay Thai, some boxing. Like I'm talking about like some bad. Like I feel bad, and I like yeah, we fought
Now
really
that you think
bad.
about it, you're like,
Well, yeah, I'm
damn,
grown
like.
now and I'm a man for one, but it's like, dude, we like as kids we fought like cats and dogs, but we love each other to the core though. It just was
It,
wild,
it's
like.
just it just comes with the sibling life, like, and you know what, like I'm not even gonna lie, because it's 4 of us, 4 girls and no boys. So there was times where like all of us would fight one, so it'd be like three
Damn, you
versus
guys are
one.
just jumping someone
Yeah.
right there.
And the one that would get jumped always talks about it, how like none of us had her back, and we would always fight
Oh,
her.
that's cold,
And then we'd
dog.
be like, you know what, you deserved it though. You were bad. Like
Oh, yeah,
even to this day, we
you
always
guys are trying to justify someone getting a beat down.
yeah. And
That's crazy.
and I was so young too, and I don't even know how. I think I would like throw scratches. Like that would be me. Like
Boom, just scratch
yeah.
over the face real quick. They learned their lesson.
Yeah.
As far as like growing up life and now your circumstances, like what would you say is your biggest fear in life?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. Um, Maybe just losing the support of
Mm-hmm.
my family.
Oh, that's a big one. I've
Yeah.
never heard that one before.
I take like really personal the way my sisters feel or think about me,
Mm.
and letting them down, I feel would be like my biggest fear.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just feel like their influence and how they feel about you.
And I know they look up to me a lot too, and they're super proud of like what I do and stuff like that. So
Mm.
like I feel like if I were to go left and like not do what's meant for me, like then I would let them down, because they've supported me for so many years now.
And as far as if you make a judgment or you make a decision for yourself and for your brand, they support everything you do, or
Yeah.
do they tell you, hey, like, we don't really like this or like
I
that?
mean, there's
Or
been like poems or stuff like that they're
Mhm.
like, oh, like one of my sisters the other day was like, wow, something like that. My poem was really dark and deep, and then at first it rubbed me the wrong way,
Mhm.
because I'm like, what do you mean, like? Because she's like, yeah, you write like really dark stuff, and
Mhm.
I was like, no, I don't. So something like that, like I appreciate now, because obviously, like she's kind of giving me an insight of how maybe my writing's kind of coming off.
Mhm.
But for the other parts, they're like always very supportive on everything. Like,
That's super dope because
yeah,
everyone's gonna always critique things to their own like standard or
yeah,
how they see it.
yeah, how they perceive
And
it.
sometimes it's really hard because as like an artist or anything that you create,
Yeah,
you just like you're kind of like
yeah, and I
closed
think
off
I took that
sometimes.
personal, because I'm like, I don't want to be labeled like that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I had to learn that it was okay if people are gonna perceive me like that,
Yeah.
because I think as long as I knew like
Who you
yeah,
are,
exactly.
you know.
But I guess because it was my sister, so it was so close that I
Mhm.
felt kind of weird that she told me that. But yeah, they support me like 100% in almost everything.
That's super dope. And
Yeah.
that's just the thing too is you're not going to make everyone happy, including family
Yeah,
and
that's true.
including friends and
Yeah.
loved ones and close people. You're not always going to please them and their opinion may be different than
Yeah.
yours, and we have to like learn to understand like, okay, that's your opinion
It's
and
okay.
let's move on.
Yeah.
You know, it sometimes like I've taken plenty of things personal sometimes, and I got to realize like, hey dude, everyone has their own
Yeah.
opinion and you got to respect it and be open to criticism, because
Yeah.
that's what's going to make you better or just make you know who you are as a
Yeah,
person. Like, this
exactly.
is me and I'm going to stand behind
Yeah.
that, and you got to respect that too,
I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This shit is fire.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say would be your biggest insecurity?
Ooh.
These are some real questions right here. That's why we're getting on the so
Yeah, I know,
disconnected.
you
We're
went
trying
straight
to
to it. I'm
trying to
just kidding.
reconnect, you know?
My biggest insecurity? Well, for sure, it has to revolve around my writing.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think I could pick like a particular insecurity with it. I think I just really like for my writing to be inspiring.
That's dope.
And sometimes when I feel like maybe I haven't gotten like enough reaction, not that I need people to comment on it or say stuff like that, but if I don't really see like a lot of interaction with it, then I know that maybe it wasn't strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, damn, is my writing too basic? So I guess that's my insecurity, doubting if my writing can be really
Yeah,
basic.
doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me, I have the same problem.
Yeah.
Plenty of times with a lot of stuff that I do, and it sucks when you get into that train of thought because then you're asking yourself like, is this good? Or, am I wasting my time? Am I just putting this thought in my head that I'm just a great
Yeah,
writer?
and I think like for me, one of the things I've struggled with my writing is the word like a poet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, I don't read a lot of poetry, but some things that I do come across, I'm like, wow, this shit is super deep and like kind of complex.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like my writing is like that. And I've had creative blocks where where I've been wanting to write like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's where I reached that block because I try to force something that wasn't me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's something I could relate. A lot of people could relate to that because sometimes we want to get something or make something, and it's like if you're forcing it, it's
Yeah.
not gonna come genuinely,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna come out like natural.
Yeah.
So,
And I had to be okay with like if my poems are like cat, hat, bat, I'm like, okay, fine. Like then that's just the type of writer that I am. Like I can't try
Gucci
to
gang, Gucci gang, Gucci
Yeah,
gang,
exactly. I
Gucci.
can't try to change something that isn't me.
Nah, for real.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think it's basic. I think everyone creativeness is unique and complex in its
Yeah.
own way because how you break it down and they'll be like, well, if someone's reading it, they may see it one way and you're really like taking them on a whole nother journey.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
It's funny because like you mentioned that like I've written some basic stuff like
Mhm.
music wise, and then someone stopped me and been like, hey, like you didn't notice what you did right there, and I'm over here just thinking I'm rhyming and rhyming
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
talking about something else, and they totally just compared it to something else, and I wasn't even aiming for
You're
that.
like, wow, I didn't
And
even
it,
know that.
and it's
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like, damn, I didn't know it was gonna, but people's minds take it in
Take it somewhere
differently.
else. And I think that's what fuels you after when you hear someone say that and you're like, oh damn, okay, let me keep writing then.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of crazy because it's like you really don't need people to rely on to like make you keep creating,
Yeah.
but it's like a reassurance, and it does feel good sometimes
Yeah, because
when
at the end
people
of
are
the day,
cheering you
like
on.
exactly, we and I'm looking at your composition books. Like I'm sure we have so much like writing stuff that we don't
Mm-hmm.
always share with people.
Mm-hmm.
I know like if I look at my phone, I have like so many notes of a lot of different writing,
Mm-hmm.
and some things are like worth to share and some things are not. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like maybe those things I'm not sharing are actually really deep, but I just keep them personal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that's what it is, and I think sometimes too is when we create with limits or we put limits and restraints on ourselves, we don't get some of our best work
yeah,
because we're not being fully bold and we're not being fully like open. But sometimes that's scary to
and
go
with
that deep,
yeah, exactly, and sometimes with the restraints, like I feel like if we create something because we feel like we need to make a post or
Mm-hmm.
something, then that's when it doesn't come out natural
Mm-hmm.
because we're like forcing it. Because
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, I have to share something, so let me see what I can write, and that's
I
when,
I I know exactly what you're
and that's
talking
when
about.
your shit might come out whack.
Yeah, really
So
though.
I've
And
I've dealt with that. Yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna drop something real quick
Yeah,
because it's
I'm
been
like,
a
fuck, I
while.
haven't posted in a minute. Like, let me see what I can come up with. Like,
Exactly. What inspired you to start writing and to do the things that you do now? Like, what inspired you to get to this point?
honestly, like I've thought about that too, and I don't know.
You don't know.
um,
You always wrote.
Yeah, well, yeah, I started writing when I was really little.
Mm.
I loved writing in diaries. And I think I've always been a very emotional person, so I always used to write like my sisters are being mean to me, like things. And I think one time my sisters actually read my diary and they're like, "Wow, you're talking about us."
They're like, damn.
Yeah.
Then
They're like, "Oh, you're talking shit."
then you started being the one getting jumped, huh?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. Then the tables turn. No, but yeah, I've always written when I was little. I loved writing in diaries. I think I always, maybe I didn't realize it at the time, but that's the way like I would express my emotions
Mm-hmm.
or let it out. I wasn't like a crybaby child or like rebel like that, so maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I express myself out without even realizing that that was like my form of expressing myself. And then as I got older, like in high school, I used to write a lot randomly too in
Wow.
journals. I don't even know where those are. I
You're
wish I
like,
could
I
have kept
lost
them.
them all.
Yeah, I probably tossed them because when I graduated high school, we lost our house. So I think at that point, I probably threw away a lot of shit. And then when I got into college, I kept writing as well. And college was like the turning point with my writing. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? Because obviously in high school, like I had no idea. I would just write like just to write. And I think like the whole blog stuff was barely coming up.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, that's when things started turning and I created a blog. And that's when I started like my first The Lynn Diaries blog.
Do you remember what the first thing you published and when that was?
No, maybe it was like in 2012 or 2013.
Oh, wow.
Sure. Yeah.
That was some time back.
I can't remember like the exact date, but I think it was like around that time when I actually went live with it. And it was on blogger.com.
Nice. Yeah, that's a throwback.
That's a throwback website.
Yeah.
And I created the Lynn Diaries from Lynn is from Evelyn, and then diaries just came from me always writing in diaries.
That's dope. I like the concept behind that, and the little composition books you made.
Yeah.
That's super dope. I gotta copy me one of those from you. Those
I know. I have to order some new stuff. After my event, I ran out of like all those notebooks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I had one of my friends do the design for me. I had asked her like kind of like what I had in mind, and I always, since I was in like high school, I always wore like earphones, and then when I got in college, I had headphones like all the time. Even at work, I still wear headphones. So I'm like, I have to kind of include that.
Yeah.
Because it like represents like my music part.
Yeah, and
I kind of went off from your question.
No,
yeah.
That's dope though. Like that's what we're getting into all that, so there's no worries with that. That is cool because I did notice that like you're incorporating the things you love to what you do. You know, the music and writing.
Because I felt like my logo, I had to do something that represented me, and it took me a while. I had like another basic one that I did online, like myself, like trying to figure out how to do it. But then it wasn't, I think, until last year where I like officially asked someone to, like, I paid someone to do the logo for me, and I told her like what my vision was, and she created it perfect. Shout out to Danielle Art Matters.
There you go.
She's the one that did it for me.
Yeah. Get those plugs.
I know.
Right there. That's the way to do it. So you did have some experience in the music industry, correct?
I did.
And how did that start off for you?
So when I was in high school, I was 15 when Power 106 Street Team came to my high school. And I loved what they did at lunch. And when I was in high school, I was in ASB. So I was a really involved, like, high-spirited student as it was. And I loved, I don't know, I guess you could say the attention. That sounds weird to, like, admit. I love the attention. But, yeah, they came to our lunch, like, doing a whole rally and stuff, and music, and the DJ, and, like, the host, and giving out CDs, and, like, doing, like, all those, like, dances. Like, yeah, so, obviously, me being, like, the attention lover, like, I participated in it and stuff. And after that, like, I thought, like, man, I want to work in radio. Like, I want to be a radio broadcaster. I want to do what they do.
That's dope.
Yeah, so when I was 15, that's always stayed on my mind. Like, I want to do that. I want to do that. So come my senior year, I applied to Cal State Long Beach, and I set to major in comm studies. Because I'm like, I started doing my research, and I'm like, oh, I think I can get into radio with a comm studies degree. Because at my school, they don't have like a specific radio broadcasting major or degree. And then I also thought like comm studies is so broad that I could do like whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah, you can get it's a broad field of industries you can get into.
Yeah, because I'm like communications, like that's anything. So then when it was like my second year in college, I want to say, I was working at Aldo at the time, and I think I had been there for almost like a year and a half or something. And I was like, man, I have to do something to get into my career, because I'm like, I have 2 years left to graduate, and what's gonna come next?
Yeah, true.
So I had applied for an internship, and I didn't get it.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't get it. And you know what's crazy? Like that day I had to work at Aldo. And you know, Burbank, it was really far from like where I lived or where I worked. So I had like my car, like my little old cheap car, and I remember going, and it was really hot that day. And I went and I did their interview or whatever. When I had to leave, I had to go straight to work because I was already late. I had told them that I was trying to do an internship, so they were cool with that. But on my way there, on my way back to work, my car started overheating.
Oh man,
yeah,
that
and
sucks.
it was all the way up, like not even like midway, like the whole thing. And I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And I was stuck on the 5 trying to go back because I worked at the Citadel Outlets. So like it gets really stuck right there in that area. Like if anyone knows where the outlets are off the 5, like
Yeah,
it's
the traffic's nasty right
right
there,
there,
dude. Yeah, it's
exactly.
like
And I
super
was like
bad.
praying, like, God, please just let me get to work. Like, please don't let my car turn off, and then I'm gonna be stuck here. So yeah. So I didn't get that internship. And then maybe like a year later, um, I applied for street team,
Hmm.
and I got the call back that I had the interview.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember. I think I was in school when they called me. So I was
You're
like,
super excited.
yeah, I was really nervous and excited. I'm like, oh my God, okay, I have one more chance. Like, God gave me another chance. So, like, I have to get it right. And it was even better because this time it wasn't an internship, it was a job. So I'm like,
Nice.
cool, yeah, like, I have to land this. So I went through the whole, like, audition process and
Hmm.
stuff. And then I got the call back for, like, my second interview. And then after I got the job. And
Damn, just like that, you got on the team.
yeah, and I got on the team. But I like to think like all the experience that I did in high school is what kind of helped me
Hmm.
because I was used to talking on the mic and stuff. And my high school, I did a lot of pep rallies and
Oh, that's really dope. And
yeah,
it's good that
exactly.
you have like a lot of people don't have that energy to like want to go like or they want to, but
Yeah,
it's not easy to get up in front of a crowd and to just force yourself to do it.
yeah.
That's good
It's
experience.
not. And even then, even for that audition, it was nervous because you have a lot of other people watching you, and everyone wants that same job.
Yeah.
So, you get even more nervous or you hear other people go before you and like you're like, damn, they sound really good. But
And then you're just like, damn,
like
you're like all worried.
yeah, exactly. But but I got it. So I mean
So,
that's what
what
helped
was
me.
your experience like in radio?
It was fun.
How many
Yeah.
years did you work
I
there?
did too.
Two
Yeah.
years?
My first year I did street team.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned so much on street team. Just like it was a grind. And I know you
Yeah.
know that. Like
Yeah, for sure it is.
the hot summers, like, loading and unloading and setting up equipment and
The long events
the
too.
long
The
events, the
community
double
events.
events,
Yeah. Back to back.
the far events, like
Mm-hmm.
driving out to some far ass cities, like random places with like, you know what I mean? Like with just two people to set up, like, but I learned so much and I had a lot of fun. That's like an experience that I'll never forget. And sometimes I'm like, I wish I could relive it, like those
Mm-hmm.
moments, because it was just so fun.
Yeah,
And I
you
was
soak
young
up a
too.
lot from people too, and
Yeah.
you learn about people, and because you spend a lot of time with a
Yeah,
teammate
exactly.
or another street team member or a group of street team members, and that's how you guys start to see.
Yeah, and on top of that, the community.
Yeah.
All the different communities that we went to, it was cool. And like the high schools that we did, you received so much fun energy from like the younger kids
Oh,
that
and that's
that was
really
like,
dope.
yeah, it was a good feeling. For sure. And then my second year, I did social media for the night show.
Hmm.
And that was fun. I had a really good time because I was actually involved in a show. So right there is where I learned like a lot more. They would call it like the other side.
The other
So
side,
yeah,
yeah,
so I
because
was
you're dabbling into like the marketing and programming
yeah,
side of it.
exactly.
So.
And then the night show had just started, like,
Hmm.
so it was cool because it was a whole fresh, like, new vibe,
Hmm.
and I was like their first social media person. So doing that
Nice.
experience was really cool. Like I really enjoyed it, and seeing how like a show runs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Because obviously, like I would see, when you would come from an event, sometimes you would peep like other people's shows and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But it would be like an in and out. Like I'm not gonna stay here. So
Yeah, hi,
actually,
bye, wave,
yeah,
show your respect, dab
exactly. Show
people
the
up, but
respect.
then you're out. So
Hmm.
when you get the opportunity, it's cool because you get to sit in, soak up game. You're just like a little kid in a candy store, though.
Yeah, exactly. And then like just the people that would come in and out, like, and being a night show, it was like a really fun vibe
Hmm.
because it's like you have to be turned up. Like everyone
Oh
is
yeah,
always on.
just the vibe of the radio station,
Yeah,
the vibe of
exactly.
the music. Everyone's at
Yeah.
110 every day, all day.
Yeah,
Like you have to be.
but also at the same time, like I'm really about my business, so I always kept my headphones on and like was on my laptop too,
Oh,
because
that's
I'm like I
dope.
have to make sure that like the social part was taken care of.
And you just wanted to let them know that you were serious about what you were doing
Yeah,
and that you
exactly.
like you really wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah, like I really cared. Like, are we trending tonight?
Hmm.
Like that was like my goals for them.
Yeah, and that's what your job requirements were. So you were just
Exactly.
like super like go hard with it.
Yeah, because I'm like, if this is my job, then I for sure want to make sure that I'm leaving an impact on it.
That's dope.
But yeah, I had a really good experience at Power. 2 years, they went by quick. It's
Yeah.
crazy now that I think about it. I'm like, wow, like
Yeah,
time
that's a
flew.
trip.
Yeah.
What would you say motivates you? What's like a big motivator for you?
For sure, my family is
Hmm.
like my biggest motivation. Just to keep going to make them all proud. I think that's like the biggest thing for me, because I'm like super family oriented. So
That's good.
yeah, so for me, like I love making them proud, and I always seek for new things to like keep it pushing, and that motivates me, and then they get motivated from that as well, like my sisters and stuff.
That's dope
Yeah.
because it's like it's almost like a slingshot. Like you're going and
Yeah,
then you're like
exactly.
pulling them along the way like a rubber band. Like everybody's just kind of just, helping each other climb up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really dope. Is there anything you would tell your younger self if you could? If you had any advice to give to your younger self,
To my
would you say
younger
anything?
self. I don't know.
She's in her thinking space
I
right now.
am. I'm trying to think like, what did young Lynn do? What did young Evelyn do? I think to keep writing and not be afraid of what people think. For a lot of years, I held back on sharing my writing because I felt like it wasn't good enough. So I would just tell myself like just to do me.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always done me, but as far as my writing, I held back for a really long time.
Yeah. Your art, your
Yeah,
passion.
exactly.
Were you insecure about it too?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's how. Even now, sometimes
I still, I mean, there's moments where I still do,
yeah,
but
like
now it's a little bit more like, fuck
who
it.
cares?
Like, yeah,
Exactly. Like
exactly.
I got no time to waste, so here it is.
Yeah,
I'm sharing it.
exactly. And that's why it took me a really long time to actually figure out what the hell I was gonna do with my writing. Because I'm like, cool, like I have this talent. Now I am gonna say it like I do feel talented in my writing, and maybe now like
Yeah.
I'm proud to say I do have a talent. But I think before I didn't. I didn't have that mindset. I just was like, oh, I write, and then that's it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you just didn't. It's crazy how like we hold back from ourselves and we're the ones in control of that,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like you are talented and you're good at what you do, and you got to follow up with that and just
Yeah.
be proud of what you do, and
Exactly.
people are gonna take it or leave it because even if you're doing great, someone's gonna still talk shit.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing bad, someone's gonna still
still
talk shit.
Yeah.
So you can't please everyone, and then you just gotta that whole mentality, like you said, fuck it, I'm gonna just put it out. Like it's the
Yeah,
best mentality ever.
And I don't like to say like, oh, I regret. I wish I didn't like I did that before, because I'm like everything happens for a reason. Like I'm a really strong believer in that. Like I am now. I am where I am now because of all like the ups and downs that I've been through, and even with my writing. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, like it would have been cool if I kind of would have had this mindset before, but it was meant for me to have this mindset
Yeah,
now.
to learn, grow,
Yeah,
experience, have
exactly.
ups and downs. Like sometimes I think we try to go against it or be like, why is this happening? And then when you go through it and then you're on the next journey, you're like, oh shit, now I know
This is why.
it set
Yeah.
me up for this next
Yeah,
step.
exactly.
If there's any advice you can give to someone who wants to write or someone per se want to get into the music industry and radio and the things that you're interested in, what would you say is what kind of advice could you give to them?
As far as like radio and like the music industry, for sure to network as much as they can. Don't be afraid to follow people like online, even if they don't follow you back.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people hold back on that. And like follow them on all the platforms like Twitter, Instagram, like TikTok now.
Oh yeah, I'm on that.
TikTok,
I haven't done no dancing videos or nothing
I know.
yet, but I'm on
I
there.
actually did one.
Oh, word.
With my nephew though, because I had to try out the platform to see how it works. But yeah, I would tell him to try to network and get to know people, because the industry is like a very she knows who knows type thing.
Yeah.
And when you start like recognizing those faces and stuff, then you can learn like where are they involved. Maybe they'll put out something that there's like an event happening somewhere. So that's where you can start showing your face and kind of getting more involved in going to those things. I didn't really necessarily do that. I got lucky to kind of like jump on board, right away.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle. It's really hard nowadays
For sure.
to do that.
It's really good what you said though, like follow you really got to follow what you're into and what you want to follow and be heavily in that. Like I would say not everyone has to do it, but I'd say not follow what's not adding value to what
exactly.
you're pursuing, and get heavily involved in following and watching the people that you want to be involved with, or the people you look up to. And like you said, on every platform, see what they're doing, seeing how they're moving or how they operated, and learn from it. Not everyone's blueprint's going to be the same way, but follow some people and see how they started out, and then you can make your own way.
Yeah. And then just not to give up you know, even if you get like 100 no's and stuff like that, because I could have given up after they told me no from the internship.
No, really though.
And then I kept going, and then I got even more blessed to actually get a job. So it's just, sometimes it just takes time. And, you know, you just have to be patient with yourself and know, like, if this is really what you want, then you're going to get there. But it's just like all depends on the mentality that you're going to have for it.
No, for sure.
So that would be my advice for anyone like trying to get into like the radio. Maybe it's not the best advice, but it's something. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
That's what I would suggest.
You know, that's really, that in our time, in our generation, I think that's important.
And also, sorry, not to cut you off, but
right.
I feel like if you have like a specific company that you want to work for, you should know everything about it.
Oh, like, that's true.
Let's say, like, if you want to work, for example, at the radio station, then know exactly the different slot times, who are those on-air personalities, like, who are all the mixers, the DJs on, like, knowing all the stuff, like, let's say right now, like, the morning show, like, knowing exactly what promos are running, what are the stuff they're doing, because come, like, your interview time,
they may ask you those questions.
Things, like, then you don't look like you are actually interested.
Exactly.
And for me, and that comes with you following all those pages, because then that's when you start to actually learn like how the station runs. So that's kind of like my advice. Like, really do your research on companies, and it doesn't have to be just a radio station. It could be anything else, but you need to learn like
everything, the ins and outs, and everything about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't take hard to do research. Like, go on the company website and look at their about. And then you'll start to see, like, they'll have a whole segment of who was the founder and all those stuff. And sometimes you're like, I don't need to know this. But yeah, you do, because you never know if they're going to ask you that.
Yeah, not only that, though, but if you're serious about something like that, you're going to want to do the behind the scenes and know everything about it and how it started and everything. If you're really serious about the craft and you're not just looking for something to get you, like a come up, a quick come up.
Yeah. And then my advice for people like creatives or like writers is just to trust yourself and don't feel like things have to be perfect or you have to make things pop in right away, because it's okay, you know, if only 2 people are supporting your writing. Like, as long as you know that you're doing it for your own reasons, then that is what's going to carry it on and make it grow. And don't be afraid to try. I think a lot of us like don't try because we're afraid like that it's not gonna have a good outcome. But as like a writer, that's something that I've learned. Like, I just have to keep trying, keep writing, even if my writing is boo boo. Like, it eventually I'm gonna make something good.
Exactly, because it's just trial and error and your repetition, practice. You gotta practice so many hours to just get better. You know.
Yeah, there's times where I write random shit on napkins and like Post-its.
Dang, she's an MC, rapping over here, writing napkins on the bus.
For reals.
Damn, it sounds like an 8 Mile movie right now. I know.
But all that has like been able to create something, and there's times where I've thrown away so many pieces of papers of writing because I wasn't able to find what I wanted to make. And
that could have been a masterpiece right there.
It could have been, yeah.
So the Lynn Diaries, you've been going super hard with that, and it's really dope what you're doing right now. Can you explain that and get into that?
Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, the Lynn Diaries was like a platform that I created. I didn't really necessarily know what I wanted to do with it when I started. I just liked the way it sounded, and I made a blog from it. But I think as the years went by, like, I bought the domain, so the lynndiaries.com just kind of was there.
Nice.
And every now and then I would write a blog and I would post it. And that would be it. Like, I would share it maybe, and then it would just live there. Like, I actually write on WordPress.com for anyone who's interested on writing a blog. That's where I have my website on. But it wasn't, to be honest, until this year that I was like, what am I doing with the Lynn Diaries? Like, I've had this website for so long and, like, this brand, I guess you could say, and I didn't know what direction I wanted to take it to.
Yeah.
And I think it came with, like, me turning 25 and me figuring myself out and me finding out, like, who Evelyn is, that I figured out what the Lynn Diaries is. So in July, I had my first writing workshop.
Nice.
And before that, I had, like, I always get these visions when I'm driving in my car.
That's
like, of goals that I want to make happen. And I had that. I was like, I want to do an event, a writing event, and invite people over and teach them some writing skills, do, like, different exercises with them. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it happen. So
it was a community-based event, right?
Like, yeah, I on my Instagram I put out like I would share a couple. I think I started doing promo about a month before like the actual event. And I invited people to come over. It was a completely free event. And all they had to do was RSVP for it.
Nice.
So yeah, my writing event was in July. I think it was like July 12th or somewhere around there. And I made it out exactly the way I dreamt it.
Nice.
Everything was perfect for me. I had like open bar.
You had a good turnout. I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you're
You had a really good turnout for that though, huh?
Yeah, I did. Well, not everyone showed up who RSVP'd.
Uh-huh.
So first of all, no, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Wait,
So first of
actually,
all,
let me
fuck
get
y'all.
into
No, I'm just
it.
kidding.
She's like, let me get into
No,
it
I'm
real
just
quick
kidding.
and tell you guys how I really feel.
Let me call y'all out. Yeah, so I did it for 50 people. I think about half of that showed up, which is still a really good outcome for it. It was probably like a little bit more like, yeah, it was like 25, 30 around there. So I was really happy to see that because I had random faces that I didn't know. And then I had people that I hadn't talked to in years show up.
And support.
Yeah, and support
That's
me.
really dope. That's
and
really
that
dope.
was like a very emotional feeling because I'm like, damn, I didn't know that like you supported my writing.
Like you didn't know that people were like following like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was cool to see that. And like obviously I got the alerts to see who was RSVPing, so I knew ahead of time.
You're like, yup,
I was like,
knew
oh, okay,
it.
cool. But it was really nice seeing them actually show up because it's one thing and like we can all RSVP for something, and then when you actually make it and they actually took the time to go to my event, then it's so much more meaning.
Yeah, it sends a big message to
Exactly. Yeah. And then so my event, I had like open bar, I had a DJ, I had like a candy bar, I had food, like I had a shitload of stuff, like
the
everything that I wanted.
Real.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like the exact vision. And it was perfect. Like my writing exercises, I did a lot of different things from like affirmations, and like I customized these like fortune cookies because I always love opening up fortune cookies and seeing like what the message is. And there's times where I write things around that. So I wanted to do that with them. So I customized like 2 separate messages and I had them write whatever they had gotten.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyways, that event for me was like such a high feeling.
I bet that to be able to put that together and get the people to come out and try something different, that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And actually being able to do this, I'm like, wow, like I did it all on my own. Like, yeah, I had my sister's support and stuff like that, but financially I did it all by myself.
And that's dope.
And maybe I'm still paying it for it right now with my credit cards.
But
regardless, it was something that I did and I was so proud of it. So yeah, after that like really high feeling, I've been in this like area where I'm like, okay, what's next for the Lynn Diaries? Like, what else am I gonna do with this? So I don't know, like 10 weeks ago, I got the idea to start She Has a Story to Tell. And it's a segment on the LynnDiaries.com where I write about women. But before I get into all that, I realized that what I want to do with the Lynn Diaries is like be a platform for people to turn to when they feel like stressed or when they want some happiness or anything like that. They can turn and read my poems that I've probably written, and maybe they can relate to them, or even find like these stories about these women that I'm writing about and feel motivated.
Yeah, and that's dope.
Yeah, and what I plan to do with it next is hopefully, influence like the younger generation to either get involved in writing as like an escape for, stress, like a therapeutic way.
Yeah.
And just keep influencing people that way.
Yeah, I think writing is a form of therapy, big time.
It is,
because you can write down even if you can't express yourself to someone, the best way you can probably try to get what you're trying to say to them is probably write it down and give them a note.
Yeah,
and just be like, please take your time to comprehend and listen to what I'm saying. Like really read it and soak it in, and you'll understand. Because sometimes things are harder to understand when being said. But maybe if you take the time to listen, like that's the thing I'm trying to work on like every day, and it's things that because I feel like I'm a great talker and I could talk a lot and I love communicating with people, but I think like taking my time to listen, comprehend, and that's what makes communication excellent.
Yeah, for sure.
Is comprehending what somebody's saying, is actually taking in what they're saying and understanding it before making an opinionated suggestion or just responding to somebody. Like you need to really take in what they're saying.
Yeah, and I feel like with writing it gives you the chance to like take the time to process what you're gonna say, because what if you're having like a heated argument with someone and then I tell you something that I don't mean?
That happens.
Yeah, that happens often. But if I take the time and maybe I write it out and I see what I'm trying to express, then I'll be able to say it more clearly in a better way that I'm not gonna offend you and you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, my advice to people is always to write things down or write like every day, especially if you're going through something really hard in life. I always tell them, like, write down your day to day or what you feel, because then within time, maybe weeks or maybe months or maybe years, you'll look back and be like, damn, like I was going through this and look at where I am now.
Exactly.
Because I don't think a lot of people realize like the growth that you go through within time.
Yeah, and I just think the whole stigma that we have, especially if you're, if you're a minority, growing up is like we're really hard on each other.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we feel like, oh, you're just being a wimp about it, or you're not working hard enough, or whatever, and you could be going through something bad, and in your mindset you think maybe I'm just being a baby about it, or maybe I'm just like not trying to be grown or adult about it. But a lot of times, a lot of stuff we go through is trauma related, or just a lot of heavily stress, like packed on years and years of stress that you're not really functioning properly through it.
Yeah.
And you may think so low of it because of the way you were raised, the way you were brought up, the things you were taught.
Yeah.
But it could be a big issue.
Yeah.
And
I feel like in the Latino community, we don't really emphasize like on people how to relieve stress, what to do with it. Maybe now it's a little bit better because I feel like our generation has taken that upon ourselves to kind of change that around. But if you look back like at our parents or other generations, they didn't really have ways to deal with stress or with anxiety or mental illnesses, because a lot of people, if we think about it, like our parents have probably gone through depression or are depressed, and maybe for them like the easiest solution was to grab a bottle and drink,
some
tequila or some
just
beers, like
think like, oh well, this is life, so
like
what, suck it up,
like that's it, like exactly. And I feel like if we start changing that mentality of sucking it up, like then we'll actually have a better outcome and people are actually going to be happy. So for sure writing is a very therapeutic way to kind of relieve that, and that's what I want to do with the Lynn Diaries.
That is dope. And like I said, I've been following and seeing like the stories.
You're very supportive. I appreciate that.
No problem. The graphics, the way you set up your pages, the way you have it all hooked up, like it's dope. And it's captivating because you have, in this generation you have to do stuff that stands out, pops. You got to do extras, and it's dope because I think a lot of stuff I learned was from my experience in radio, doing social media and marketing. That's what helps me progress with the stuff I know, and it seems like it's helped you in a sense too.
For sure.
Look at, you've put together your own event like a promoter. You know what I mean? And you did the behind the scenes work. You did all the production to it. So that's really dope that you did that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's like a really proud moment in my life.
No, for real. That's like a bucket list check.
It really was, yeah.
You got to check that off the list. Let's get into some like out there questions. If you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be?
A mind reader.
Mind reader?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I heard that one before and I'm just like, man, I never thought of that. That's good. Because you really never know people's intentions,
Yeah, I would like to know people's actual thoughts.
Like, that's kind of scary.
I think because I'm a person that keeps it real, and I like for people to do the same.
Yeah.
So I probably would want to read like your mind. Like, what are you really thinking?
You're like, it's a gift and a curse.
Like, you talking shit about me?
Yeah. Like, it's a gift and a curse. Sometimes I hear things I really want to hear, and then sometimes I hear things I don't. What's been the biggest turning point for your life and career? It could be anything, but it could have been in the past or now. Like, what's been the biggest turning point for you so far?
I think it's now.
Right now?
Yeah, this
you're
present.
You're like, I got it.
Like, right now I'm so fueled and I feel so fired up, and this year has been my turning point in life. I don't know, maybe it's like because I'm half of 50, 25. I don't know.
Did you feel some type of way where you're like, oh my God, I got to do something? Or was it more like a coming of age? Or like,
I was like, damn, I'm old.
No, not even, dude.
I was like, fuck, I'm getting old. I can feel it.
It sucks that we feel that way. Huh? Like, at what point are you supposed to feel old?
I know. But yeah, I think 25 was the turning point for me. For my 25th birthday, I went to New York by myself.
Damn, that's crazy. Birthday. That's dope. You flew out there?
Yeah. I flew out there Friday, and my birthday was on Saturday, and then Sunday I went back home.
Your parents must have been stressing it, huh?
Kinda. Not really. They were. Well, I mean, before my mom was trying to convince me not to go by myself. Like, she's like, "Why don't you take one of your sisters or something?" Yeah. And I'm like, "No, I want to do this by myself." And to her, it was weird that I wanted to do something like that. because she was just so scared. Like, no one really does those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, no, I'm gonna be fine. Like, I'm only gonna be there a day. Like, it's okay.
You
Like,
know what? That I think that's really dope because it's like being able to do something by yourself.
yeah.
Like, you know what's crazy is like I don't know if people think it's weird, but like I can go to dinner by myself. I can go
No,
catch
that's
a
cool.
movie by
Yeah,
myself.
I've done that
And
too.
it honestly it takes you to just kind of know who you are
Yeah.
and be comfortable in your own skin. And
Yeah,
it's crazy.
exactly.
Like I grew up totally the opposite. I grew up like on some whole other thing, trying to be the cool guy and
Yeah.
a little knucklehead. And you know what though? Like when you can actually like be comfortable with yourself,
Yeah.
that's big. And doing
Yeah.
that, that's to be able to travel alone and just
Especially,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Especially in a city like New York.
yeah, that's a big
It
city.
was. So for me, like, that experience was like a very like life lesson learning experience, because
Nice.
that day, like, I did whatever I wanted to do, and I went to go eat wherever I wanted to eat, and it wasn't like, well, what do you want to eat? Like, it was just like, well, bad about myself. Like, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat?
Yeah, I know, right? You're
I'm
walking
all
in the
talking to
street, no
myself. Yeah,
headphones on, arguing with yourself on where you're gonna
exactly.
eat. I can't
um,
stand you right now. You do this to me every
I'm
time. You're
like,
just right
dang,
there.
girl, you really took that long to get ready? Like,
That'll be a funny scene right there.
I know, it should be a movie. Yeah, so I think like turning 25 was a turning point, because it was just like a eye opening, like, for Evelyn. Like, what does Evelyn want to do in life, and what's next for me?
Hmm.
Maybe it was just like the thought about age. Like, okay, well, I'm 25 now, so like it's time to be a big girl and handle things.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, this year has been the turning point, and I've been able to just really do whatever I want to do and create what I want to create, and not like feel afraid to fail. So this year has been my turning point. Yeah.
That's really dope.
I know. I'm really happy.
Yeah, that's good because it's like sometimes you're trying to look for answers or you're trying to look for inspiration or something to spark or kick in, and some people don't find it until like later down the road, and
Yeah,
then
and I think before I was trying to find it in other people,
mm,
and then I realized that I had to find it in myself.
and
Yeah.
that's the truest thing ever. Because
Yeah.
if you can't find it within yourself, like you're never if
Then
you
you're not gonna find it in other
you
people.
know it's crazy because we're always trying to fill a void, you
Yeah.
know, and in a sense, I think that's why people do turn to religion, which there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
People turn to religion, people turn to drugs, people
Yeah.
turn to other things, people turn to people to try to
Yeah.
fill voids within themselves or excuse me, overconsumption of
Hmm.
things, buying stuff, you know, spending tons of
Yeah.
money. It's like we're all trying to fill a void
Hmm.
when really it's like finding comfort within yourself and
Yeah.
knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and gaining knowledge and
Yeah.
growing within yourself. That's what I feel like will fill the void is
Yeah.
knowledge of self,
Yeah.
really.
And that's when I was like, man, like, I really do love myself. And I started changing a lot of
Okay,
things.
Kendrick,
Like,
I love
I know.
myself.
I started changing like the way I ate, like how much water I drank and stuff like that. This year, like, I started changing all those kind of habits, exercising more.
You're
Um,
like, girl, your pH level is down right now. We
I'm
got to
like,
get you right.
I'm all looking at my coworkers like, you're drinking that cup of noodles. I'm just kidding. That's high sodium, sis.
Oh, that's crazy. You ready messing up?
I know, I'm like,
2020 what?
it's barely 9 a.m. You're eating cup of noodles. So
Oh, damn. Wait, what the
no, I'm
cold
just
one?
kidding.
That was a good one, though, huh? Yo, that was a knee slapper.
Wow.
All right, so for the connection corner, this is where I like ask you stuff about like, you know, what actually inspires you, what you're into, what you
Mhm.
like, your hobbies and stuff. So, what books have you read or what books would you recommend to folks?
Ooh. Honestly, I have failed in that area. I used to love reading books.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when I was little, I used to read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But most recently, like, I've been reading books and like stop midway, and then I pick up another book, and then same shit.
I'm
The
guilty of the
the one
same
book I did
shit.
finish all the way was the Michelle Obama book.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Good.
yeah, it was good. It was really like detailed, like a lot of details. I'm like, oh, this is like boring in a sense. But I actually finished that one, so I was actually proud of myself, and it was interesting. I started reading like the common one. I don't even know what it's called, something love.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that was one that I like stopped midway.
Was it getting good?
Yeah, it was good. I just feel like I go through like seasons or like where I'm so inspired to read, and
Oh
then I'm
yeah.
not. And I think like my work schedule is really busy,
Mm-hmm.
that when I get out of work, I'm really drained. And then I'm just trying to focus on my writing. So
Yeah.
I don't really fit time in between like my reading. But I have to get better at negotiating.
Yeah, with yourself. You
I
have to
know,
negotiate with yourself.
myself.
Like, hey, homegirl, check it. You got to
Like
do
kind of
something.
organizing that, like
Yeah.
because reading is a really great thing, and I love reading. Like I love escaping in a book, but I just haven't really had the time, so I need to like figure out my time management better.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. Like, I
Yeah.
have to like get like an organization and calendar block where I make taking care of my health a
Yeah,
priority every
exactly.
day. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you can't skip on your health. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I want to make sure that becomes very natural to me
Yeah.
and fitting in time to educate
Yeah.
myself
So
because
ask me that question in 2020 because, you know, hopefully by next year, that'll be
yeah,
my
I'll be acting
resolution.
totally different.
Yeah. I'll
So
have
what
books for
about
you.
like audiobooks or podcast or informative stuff on YouTube? Do you follow anything like that or affirmations? Like what do you listen to that motivates you? Like cuz we are like not in a sense brainwashed, but we are
Mhm.
what we listen to, what we
That's
eat, how
true.
we, the things we soak in.
I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts, to be
Hmm.
honest.
She's
I,
like, but so disconnected I do.
yeah, and honestly, it's cool. Yours, and then the Hanging with Beat Drop one.
Oh yeah, shout out to Beat Drop.
Yeah, that's it's always cool seeing like different people talk about like their life come up and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, again, like I think it's just and I need to like during my job time, like I do listen to stuff. I used to listen heavily to the Breakfast Club, but that
Hmm.
would be just fun. But then I stopped because I'm like I'm not really getting anything from here. Like I love that entertainment part because I did work in radio,
Hmm.
but I don't really like gossip.
It's oh, trust me, dude. That's why I'm kind of like glad I'm doing my thing because
Yeah.
I feel and it ain't to knock anyone or anything. It's just like I want to be in a genuine
Mm-hmm.
space, dude. Like
Yeah.
bashing people or the top headlines. It's
Yeah.
not my thing. My thing is like what's going on in our community.
Yeah.
Well, how can I
Exactly.
help you? How can I help me? Like what are people doing to
Mm-hmm.
grow better?
Yeah.
Like that's to me that's like the headlines. That should be headlines.
Yeah, so I realized that I was like kind of soaking too much in something like that wasn't like really interesting to me
Hmm.
anymore. Like there's occasionally times where I love listening to like certain artists that obviously like I love and I like to hear like how their interview went.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't really have a lot of podcasts. I'm looking for recommendations because I want to get more involved in that. It falls again with the whole
For
reading
sure. I'll
thing.
send you
Yeah.
some writing
Okay, cool.
ones. They
Yeah,
got
I
some
tried to
good
find
writing
some
ones.
and then like I started listening to some. I'm like, oh my god, this is kind of boring. Like, so I tapped
Yeah,
out.
you have to find
But
something
I'll take
that's
your recommendations.
all right, for
Yeah.
sure. What about movies, cartoons? Are you a movie lover, cartoon
Yeah,
lover?
I'm a big Marvel fan.
Oh, damn,
Yeah,
that's
I
what's
love
up.
Marvel.
That's tight.
I'll for sure spend like 3 hours in the movie theater for that.
Oh, that's dope.
Um, cartoons. I mean, I grew up with like the Rugrats and stuff like that.
90s kids.
Yeah,
You
for
already know what
sure.
it is.
But yeah, I love movies. I think I like the superhero movies. Maybe I'm like maybe like that is like my inspiration to be a superhero one day. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that I haven't heard of a superhero that can read minds unless I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Or what? Well,
No, I'm
who was
thinking,
it?
trying
The
to think
dude from
something.
I'm Already Bad, X-Man, man in a wheelchair.
Oh, okay. I don't know his name, but I don't really like the X-Men
You're
movies
more
too much.
Marvel. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, damn, she's starting beef right here, dude.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I really don't follow. I'm bad with that. What genres of music? Obviously, I know hip hop's a
Yes,
big one.
I love hip hop. Hip hop is everything to me. I grew up in hip hop, so that is like my main music genre.
Mm.
Next, I would say would be like Spanish music.
Mm.
Anything from like cumbias to reggaeton.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go.
yeah, I'm
She's
really
like,
big.
I need movement music,
Yeah, I do because I grew up in a household where like my parents would bump like La Sonora
and
Dinamita.
everybody's dancing in the living room, huh?
Exactly.
Hell yeah, that's
Cleaning. Like we
dope.
had to clean while listening to music. Like that
That's
was
dope, man.
yeah. So I love hip hop and then Spanish music would be next. I like all kinds of music except for like country. I think
That's
everyone
like
kind
the
of says
common.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
that's always the
common.
common response, and I hate to be so cliche about it, but I don't listen. Like I can't tell
To be
you.
honest, I don't listen to it either, but I know for a fact it's some of the greatest songwriting ever
Yeah, for sure.
because of their details and how.
Yeah.
If you want to become a better writer, I would honestly read country lyrics.
Read the
You don't you don't have to listen to it, but
Yeah.
it's been known like they have some of the greatest writing and how
Yeah.
they their creative writing on how to describe certain situations and things like they put you there
Yeah.
and that's as a writer I've always wanted to get better to put someone in my shoes
True.
at the time of what I'm writing about, and I think that would be good.
Fine, I'll take your advice.
Yeah, no, well, you could try, but no, I've always been like, man, I don't listen to that. I don't, but I know, like, it's been for long periods of time. Those are some of the greatest award-winning writers.
Yeah,
or
that
country,
is true. That is true.
Country songwriters.
I guess I have to be a little bit more open-minded. I've tried to like be open-minded to the music, but I'm gonna take your advice and look at the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of the music either. But honestly, just seeing some of the greatest writers of the world, and of our time, it's just like the creativeness to how they describe things, and it's like you really have to take yourself and dive deep into it to really find yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, in a way of connecting with others, as far as through community, the Lynn Diaries, is there other ways that you like to connect with people, friends, family, new people that come into your life? Is there any other ways?
I guess you could just say through social media.
That's the new medium for
because
us.
Like I said before, I have a really busy work schedule. So my time as it is like very like conflicted. Limited. Yeah, limited. Usually like Saturdays are like my days off, so that for sure is like the day for me, and like I try to be like as split between my times, like, okay, I'm gonna go work on my best friend and then I'm gonna go do this in the nighttime, like stuff like that, like but yeah, I think social media is like the best way to like connect with people nowadays. I think recently what I've done this year is like be more vocal or responsive to people. Like if I see they posted something cool on their story, then I'm actually gonna write to them. And I've started doing that a lot more often, even to people that I haven't talked to in years, because I'm like, clearly we follow each other for a reason.
Exactly.
So I think it's cool to be supportive to people that maybe aren't even in your circle anymore, and just show them love and be like, yo, that's dope what you're doing, or like, oh, you're working out, like that's cool that you're sharing that. Like, where do you work out? Even if I might not go to that workout gym, but at least like I'm kind of showing them support.
You're engaging. You're engaging. You're showing support, and you're showing like you care. Because it's not like you said. Like you've shown like a big like leap of you not focused on what other people are thinking and doing, and you care and you love yourself. But sometimes people are trying to build up to get to that point, and just seeing that support or seeing the response back, sometimes you're like, damn, like I didn't know someone was even caring or watching.
And I think like you had to stop giving a fuck about like all the likes and the comments and all that shit, and like it's cool, really? Like to go double tap on someone's picture of like a random thing, like it doesn't have to be like you don't always have to only like their selfies, because sometimes people will post random stuff and then you'll see that only got like 2 likes or 10 likes, you know what I mean?
And they post a picture and it's like 500
yeah,
likes.
exactly.
Like, what?
So I think just being more vocal, because I've seen that reciprocated to me, like random people writing to me like telling me, wow, your poem was so dope, and I was like, damn, I haven't talked to this person since I was like 15. So it's cool to see that. So I've tried to be like that more often, and try to be more like, it's been a long time since we talked, like we should grab lunch sometime or something. That's the way that I've tried to kind of connect a little bit more with people who have been like in my life for a really long time, even through social media. And try to like, we're adults now, let's like meet up.
Shout out to all the people who've been rocking with us since MySpace, baby.
Seriously, I know.
It's been a long road.
Back when I was Evelyn the homegirl.
Evelyn the homegirl.
Yeah, that was like my MySpace like email.
So before we log off, is there anything you would like to promote, share, anyone you'd like to shout out? And I want you to put all your plugs on here so they know how to get to you on your handles.
For sure, shout out to my mom and my dad, and my sisters. I know they're gonna be like the only 3 that will listen to me, like everything that I share. Yeah, my sisters, Roxy, Ruthie, and Jenny. I appreciate you guys so much for always supporting me.
Yes, sis. Yes.
And next, 2 other people, my best friend and my cousin. Like, they really have my back.
Shout out to your support system.
To my female circle, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to your support system. You need that. So, before, I don't want to cut you off, but are you the strong friend? Are you the real strong friend, or you have a strong friend?
I guess I'm the strong friend. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And then like,
I hope they check on you sometimes though too.
That's funny that you.
It's important, dude. When you're the strong friend, we need that. And
someone literally just told me that, like, that I'm really well at hiding my feelings or my emotions, and that like, I think when I reach like an emotional level, like, I totally have a whole meltdown. And then it's like, damn, we didn't even know like that you were kind of going through all that.
Because you're holding it all in, and you're trying to like be like.
Because I don't like to show that, and I like to be really a strong friend for other people. So that's something that I guess I deal with like internally. But eventually, like you said, like I do have like my best friend who eventually like, are you good? I'm like, yeah. they're like, "Are you really good?"
Yeah, sometimes the strong friend needs to get checked on for
Yeah, I
sure.
agree. And then aside from that, I would love people to check out my segment on my website. She has a story to tell. Um, I don't think I touched too much basic on that, but basically, interview a different woman every week, and just I ask them like different questions on what they do. It doesn't have to be like anyone in entertainment or anything. I've had people from a baker to like someone who owns a dance studio, to someone who teaches self-defense classes.
Nice.
Yeah, and then my sister who's a teacher, and a lot of other women in between that. So yeah, I write a segment where I highlight empowering women doing cool things in our communities.
And what's the website again?
TheLynDiaries.com.
Okay.
And the segment is called "She Has a Story to Tell."
Nice.
So if anyone wants to hop on and read about what an awesome, cool stay-at-home mom is doing, then go ahead and check that out.
They're really dope stories, and
Thank
it really
you.
touch bases on the women in our communities and what the hard work they do, because I don't think they get enough credit. And I really like the change that's happening.
you.
You know,
Yeah.
women are getting the respect they're starting to deserve.
Yeah.
We're still far from where they need to be
Yeah.
at, but it's good. You know, it's really good, and I think it's important. So men that get
Sorry guys. I'm just kidding.
men that get offended by it, the movement and stuff, hey, things are changing.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't expect it to be like it used to be. You know what I mean? Things are changing. So how you're raising your sons and stuff, you really got to be mindful that women are very important in our society.
I agree, for sure.
And I think we have to change the narrative on how we treat women, as far as respect goes, and as far as how we carry ourselves around women. You know, because they're important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm trying to work on myself every day. I'm far from perfect, but I'm learning.
But we all are, yeah. I mean,
know?
it's a whole learning process, and I think even the way women see other women.
Oh yeah, we're super judgmental, dude. Everyone is judgmental towards everyone, you know.
So that's a big change that hopefully like we start to see as like time goes by. So I'm really proud of that segment that I have going on, because grew up in such like a women household, that I wanted to do something that gave back to them.
Yeah, that's dope. I really do encourage you to keep doing that, and it's gonna keep growing from here.
Yeah.
Like it'll keep going. People are noticing.
Yeah.
You know, people are gonna keep sharing, and the people that you do share their story, they're probably so excited to even be a part of it.
And I feel so inspired after that. Like especially after the interviews, like I'm all like, yeah.
It gives you a boost. You know?
It really does.
Is there anything else you would like to share? How they can follow you, contact you?
Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at She's Evelyn.
Nice.
Yeah, and then or find the hashtag TheLynDiaries.
Is it all spelled correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah, just because people are like _..
No, I was like a very simple.
So She's Evelyn. It's nice and simple there, so you guys can follow her on Instagram. And what are you on Twitter?
TheLynDiaries.
TheLynDiaries. Yeah. Awesome. So
Thank
check it out. You guys are listening to episode 8 of So Disconnected. You are tuned in to Evelyn Parada and When Tony Writes, and we're out.
Thank you.
Peace. Yo, it's When Tony Writes. You're listening to So Disconnected Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at So Disconnected. Tap the link in our bio to select the platform of your choice. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, the Stitcher Radio app, TuneIn Radio app, and YouTube. Thank you for listening. Peace.